This is a quote starting on page 181 of Walter Lowrie's translation of Soren Kierkegaard's 1845 book, Stages on Life's Way. Every child knows that Soeborg Castle is a ruin which lies in the northern part of Sealand, about half a mile from the seashore, close to a little town of the same name. In spite of the fact that the castle was destroyed a long while ago, it still maintains itself in the memory of the nation, and will continue to, for it has a rich historic and poetic background to live upon. Something of the sort might be said in the way of the Soeborg Lake, which is contiguous to the castle. Originally it had a length of a couple of miles, and a depth of several fathoms to live upon. For this reason it has not yet disappeared, and in spite of the fact that the mainland is encroaching upon it more and more, and is constricting it more and more painfully, it will for a long time continue to vindicate its existence as a lake. Last summer I fell in with an older friend of mine, a naturalist, who had followed the coast from Copenhagen north to this point for the sake of making observations upon marine plants. He had determined to visit the country about Soeborg, which he expected would yield rich results. He proposed that I should make the excursion with him, and I accepted the proposal. It is not easy to get near the lake, for it is surrounded by a rather wide stretch of bog. Here it is that the border conflict is carried on day and night between the lake and the mainland. There is something sad about this conflict, which is not indicated, however, by any trace of destruction. For what the land gradually wins from the lake is transformed into smiling and exceedingly fruitful fields. But alas for the poor lake, which is thus disappearing! No one has compassion upon it, no one feels for it. For neither the parson whose fields border upon it on one side, nor the peasants whose fields are on the opposite bank are averse to winning one piece of land after the other. The poor lake is abandoned to its own resources on the one side and on the other. What imparts to the lake a still more shut-in appearance is the fact that the bog is overgrown luxuriantly with rushes. There is nothing to match it in Denmark, so at least said my friend the naturalist. Only at one place is there a small open channel, and here is a flat-bottomed boat in which we two, he for the sake of science, and I for friendship and curiosity, punted our way out to the lake. With difficulty we got the boat started, for the channel had scarcely a foot of water. The thicket of rushes is as dense as a forest to the height of about 4 yards, and when hidden by it one is as though lost to the world for ever, forgotten in the stillness which is broken only by our struggles with the boat, or when a bittern, that mysterious voice in the desert, thrice repeats its cry and then again thrice repeats it. Strange bird, why dost thou sigh thus and lament? Thine only desire after all is to remain in solitude. Finally we got beyond the reeds, and before us lay the lake, clear as a mirror and sparkling in the radiance of the afternoon. Everything so still. Silence rested upon the lake, whereas while we punted our way through the thicket of rushes, I felt as though I were transported into the midst of the luxuriant fertility of India. Now I felt as though I were out upon the Pacific Ocean. I was almost alarmed at being so infinitely far from men, at laying in the nutshell upon a vast ocean. Now there was a confused voice, a mingled cry of all kinds of fowls, and then stillness prevailed again, almost to the point of making me apprehensive, when the sound suddenly ceased, and the ear grasped in vain for a support in the infinite. That ended on page 182. From Stages on Life's Way, published by Soren Kierkegaard in 1845, translated by Walter Lowrie in 1940, and again in 1967. Published by Princeton University Press.